Spoilers, 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 spoilers. The fourth episode of WandaVision dropped today on Disney+, and I have to give a spoiler warning for this review because I can't talk about this episode without talking in detail about a ton of these things. So if you haven't seen the episode, click off the video, go watch it, or just if you're saving it to where we have all the episodes released and you're going to watch it, don't watch the video because I'm going to give major spoilers here because I have to. My other reviews didn't contain spoilers because I didn't feel like I had to talk about the episode, whereas in this one, I almost feel like I have to or else I'll be way too broad with it. So there's your warning, and just to get straight to it, in this episode, we basically had all those questions that we were kind of wondering, and all these things was like, oh, how did this happen? Whose voice is that? We get all those answered in this episode. It was definitely a filler episode, I'd say, but in the same way, it's almost not because they were answering all these things. Basically, this episode is what happened in the last one, but from a different perspective. That's basically what it is. So it doesn't move the whole sitcom, like the WandaVision story forward at all, but it kind of answers the mysteries of what we were wondering, especially in that last episode. As I mentioned, they were building a lot of stuff up, and I said in my previous reviews that I didn't want them to dump it all at once because I thought it would be in like that final episode, but here they did. But it's okay because it doesn't feel like the story has now stopped here. We still have a lot to go through, so I did like that. So ignore what I said in those last few reviews because here they found a smart way to do it. I'd say my favorite scene in this episode had to be the ending. I also really like the aspect ratio change. I went to the box, I went to like the film look, I'll do it myself in post. I think it fit well, and we barely had any Wanda or Vision scenes here. We actually didn't really have any new Wanda or Vision scenes, at least not ones that were like the sitcom ones, because these characters, like the agents and the sword agents and the FBI agents, are like watching the show on that little screen, and that answers in that first episode what was that TV screen, and now I think we see the exact same shot. But this episode was more focused on those agents, as I mentioned, the sword agents and the FBI agents. So we get old characters returning like Agent Wu and Darcy, what the hell's her last name? And Darcy Lewis. And honestly, I'm going to be completely honest here, I haven't seen the Thor movies in so long, so I forgot Darcy Lewis existed. And when she came up here, I was like, whoa, this character's so cool, I love her. She was one of my favorite aspects of this episode. And also Agent Wu, I remembered him, but seeing them both here back really excited me. The episode opened with people returning and like blipping. I think that's what it's called, like, not dusting away but dusting back almost, and it really surprised me because I didn't know that's like the tone and the different change they were going for here. And trust me, there are some shocking things in this episode. I'd consider it the most traditional MCU episode because it felt like it had not even more action, but although there was a little bit at the end there, but it just the way it was shot, which I loved. And I don't mean that in a bad way at all. I love the MCU. I'm wearing a Marvel Comics shirt. I love the MCU, and one of the biggest shockers of this episode, everyone's talking about it. Thank God I avoided Instagram and Twitter and Letterboxd and all the things that would have spoiled it for me. I just stayed off them until I watched the episode. Was dead Vision walking in. That just made me jump. I was like, what the fuck? I actually said that out loud when he walked in. Then we get to see Wanda kind of launch Monica Rambeau out, and that explains, how she kind of just got flung out at the end of the last episode. And then she like turns and she kind of says, it's all Wanda. And then it really finalizes my thoughts to say, yeah, this is Wanda's reality because Vision's dead, and we kind of see that really quickly. That was one of my favorite things in the episode, was seeing dead Vision, because he's dead, and they mentioned that earlier in the episode through dialogue, and we're like, how is he here? So it's obviously Wanda playing with it, and we got to see her use her powers, which I love. Wanda's always been one of my favorite characters ever since I saw her in Age of Ultron, and even the dialogue at the end very much felt like it was controlled by Wanda, where they're like, oh, we could go anywhere, and she's like, no, we can't, this is our home. It just felt so off, and in a good way. And again, the episode does feel a little bit different because it totally switched, as I said, from this like happy sitcom kind of weird like interesting moments to like total MCU stuff, which again I really liked, but it was a bit jarring at first. But I will say this is one of, if not my favorite episode of the show so far. WandaVision episode 4 was definitely a filler episode, but by answering questions and shocking us as the audience, I think it managed to basically improve upon previous episodes. This one really got me hyped for next week's episode, and I saw a little bit of the promo, but I just skipped through because I'm like, I don't want to see anything. I like going into these episodes completely blind just to see. I didn't know this one would be like stuff like that. I didn't expect to see that, but I am so excited to see how this will wrap up in the finale. I'm going to give episode 4 of WandaVision a 4 out of 5. So that was different. I mean, I don't normally talk spoilers about it, but I had to. Like, I couldn't brush over so much of this. Like, there were so many things in this episode where I was like, I had to talk about this, had to talk about this, had to talk about this, but I couldn't even explain what this episode was about without kind of giving away some spoilers. So I hope that you enjoyed that. Tell me what you thought of this episode in the comments down below. Is it your favorite? I know a lot of people said it was their favorite. I know Paul Bettany kind of hyped it up before by saying it would blow people away. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Over and out.